The NBA trade deadline is much more than a simple cutoff for trades. It is a chessboard where every move hides a power strategy, a calculated manipulation. While the media focuses on names, we're going to show you the truth behind the smoke. Think about it this way: when you see a headline saying that a team is interested in a star, what is really happening? Is it just basketball interest, or is there a much deeper psychological game being played behind the scenes? Today, we're going to break down 3 moves that defined the most recent trade deadline. 3 situations that looked obvious on the surface, but concealed layers of strategy that few are able to see. Get ready, because what you're about to discover will completely change the way you look at NBA negotiations. The smokescreen of a below expectations season surrounding Giannis Antetokounmpo and the Bucks. Let's start by questioning this narrative. Milwaukee began the season inconsistently. That's a fact, but here's the first layer of manipulation. Who benefits from this crisis narrative? It's not just the Bucks. Think about the teams that were leaked as interested: the Knicks, Warriors, Heat, and Timberwolves. These teams weren't just monitoring the situation, they were playing a waiting game, holding their patience for the right moment to make the final move. But wait, there's more. When a team like the Warriors publicly shows interest in Giannis, what does that actually do? First, it increases the player's perceived value. Second, it pressures Milwaukee to make a decision. Third, and here's the masterstroke, it forces other interested teams to show their cards. It's like a psychological auction where no one has actually placed a bid yet. Now think about the Bucks' position. They know Giannis is untouchable, but allowing these rumors to circulate serves a greater purpose. While the entire league speculates about Giannis, Milwaukee operates in the shadows, truly exploring which complementary pieces they can add to the roster. The noise around the superstar is merely a distraction from the real moves. And there's another angle: pressure on the franchise itself. When information leaks that Giannis may be unhappy, that's not accidental. Someone wants that information out there. It could be the player's own agent, creating leverage for future contract negotiations. It could be a rival team trying to destabilize Milwaukee, or in a more subtle play, it could be the Bucks' own front office, testing the market temperature without committing to anything: Giannis' interest in a more competitive team. Is this an orchestrated bluff to force the Bucks into action, or a clear signal that player power is redefining the rules of the game? Let's analyze the historical context first. LeBron James redefined the paradigm when he orchestrated his exit from Cleveland in 2010. Kevin Durant did the same when he chose Golden State. Anthony Davis forced his way out of New Orleans. The pattern is established. Superstars control their destinies. But here's where it gets interesting. Giannis has never made public statements asking for a trade. He's never had a "the decision" moment. So where do these rumors come from? The answer lies in the NBA's new communication era. Anonymous sources, people close to the player, unnamed insiders. This information serves multiple purposes simultaneously. For Giannis and his inner circle, it keeps pressure on Milwaukee without publicly burning bridges. For the Bucks, it works as an alarm: improve the team or risk losing everything. For teams like the Warriors and Heat, it's a signal that the window might open, so it's worth keeping liquid assets available. But what if I told you that all this theater might simply be about the next contract extension? Think about it this way: if Giannis signs a Supermax extension without Milwaukee showing commitment to improving the roster, he loses leverage. But if rumors circulate, if other teams show interest, suddenly Milwaukee has to prove its value. Not with words, but with concrete actions at the trade deadline. And here lies the true power of the new generation of players. They don't need to publicly request a trade. They just need to allow the possibility to exist in the minds of executives. It's psychological manipulation at the highest level, the rebuild of the Grizzlies, and the openness to negotiating Ja Morant. A facade to dismantle a project and realign power within the conference? Kings and Heat, the supposed suitors, know that the real prize isn't just the player. It's the reconfiguration of power across the league. Memphis was at the top of the Western Conference just 2 seasons ago. Ja Morant was considered untouchable. So what changed? Injuries, yes. Off-court issues, also. But does that really justify putting your franchise star on the market? Let's peel this onion. When a team like Memphis opens up a player to negotiations, they're not necessarily selling. They're establishing market value. They're forcing other GMs to reveal how much they truly value that asset. It's market intelligence disguised as availability. Now consider the interested teams, Kings and Heat. Sacramento has never won anything meaningful and is desperate for a competitive lead. Miami always operates on the margins, trying to build super teams through financial creativity. Both represent very different roster building philosophies. But here's the real game. If Memphis trades Ja Morant to Sacramento, they weaken a direct conference rival while receiving overvalued assets from a desperate team. If they trade with Miami, they get young talent and picks. But they also remove an Eastern Conference competitor that could attract other free agents. And there's yet another possibility few consider. What if Memphis never had real intention of trading Morant? What if all of this was meant to create a sense of internal urgency? To make Ja understand that his position isn't guaranteed, that he needs to mature and truly lead. Sometimes the trade rumor is the most effective management tool a franchise has. Think about the rest of the roster as well. When players hear that the star could be moved, what's the message? That no one is safe, that everyone must prove their value. It's corporate Darwinism applied to basketball. The truth is that the Bucks' decision to not trade Giannis before the deadline wasn't an act of loyalty, but a strategic maneuver. They secured the most valuable asset on the table while watching their rivals expose themselves. Think about what Milwaukee accomplished by doing absolutely nothing. They identified which teams have enough assets for a superstar trade, forced conference rivals to spend political and negotiation capital chasing a deal that would never happen, kept Giannis happy by showing the franchise doesn't cave to external pressure, and created a precedent for future negotiations by knowing exactly the market value of their star. And the rumors about Morant and Sabonis? Just pieces in a much larger game where the backroom decisions shape the NBA's future. Not just what happens on the court. Every rumor, every source close to the player, every insider tweet serves a strategic purpose. Nothing leaks by accident at this level. When you see a headline about a possible trade, ask yourself, who benefits from this information being public? The answer is almost never obvious. The real trade deadline game doesn't happen in phone calls between GMs. It happens in public perception, in created expectations, in applied psychological pressure. It's information warfare disguised as sports negotiation. And in the end, the teams that win aren't necessarily the ones that make the biggest trades. They're the ones that best manipulate the narrative, control the information, and play the game within the game. Milwaukee won this trade deadline without moving a single piece on the board. That's strategic mastery. What's your bet for the next move? Now that you see beyond the headlines, which team do you think is playing the smartest game behind the scenes? Does Giannis really stay in Milwaukee long term, or is this just the next chapter of a negotiation that has already begun? Will Ja Morant be the next superstar to force his way out, or did Memphis just execute the perfect bluff? Leave your comment and unravel the secrets of the NBA with us. And if you want to keep understanding what really happens when the cameras turn off, subscribe to the channel, because in the NBA, the real game never stops.